In 0.2, Lightning Spear was the best clearing skill, but there was another skill, waiting for its time to shine, and it is now. Daily map, and screen cleared, and screen cleared, and screen cleared, and screen cleared. Oh look, another screen cleared. Hey, I'm Cyclon, and today I'm sharing with you my League starter for Path of Exile 2 0.3 the Third Edict. Volley is definitely the bow skill with the most clear potential in the upcoming patch. This skill fires 25 projectiles by default and 29 with quality, and if that is not enough, Volley can consume frenzy charges to deal even more damage and gain free chains. At base level, with just one frenzy charge consumed, it deals more damage and has more coverage than Lightning Arrow. By the way, I did wrote a detailed written guide on Mobalytics and included a PoB with all the important details. You can find a link to that in the description. However, as we still do not know the full extent of the 0.3 gem changes and passive tree changes, I'm still using the old tree and support gems. Of course, I will update it once we receive them. And if you're looking for how to level this build, I did make a video on that just yesterday. You can find a link in the top right corner or in the description. Now, before I explain the details of the skill and how we generate frenzy charges, I want to address the elephant in the room: why am I not playing a Deadeye? There are 3.5 reasons Amazon is stronger than Deadeye for this build, at least till a very high budget. One is the Ascendancy Elemental Surge, previously named Elemental Infusion. This build generates and consumes frenzy charges constantly, which results in a near permanent uptime on Elemental Surge, specifically the Lightning Surges. Now, Elemental Surge in general is pretty neat, but it becomes borderline broken with Spiral Volley. Whenever we attack, we consume one single surge with Spiral Volley, but all 29 projectiles will cause the lightning explosion, resulting in an insane clear getting even more insane, nuking the entire screen. The second ascendancy node on the Amazon that highly benefits our build is Predator. There's quite a lot of hype around the Deadeye, and I get it. It's an amazing ascendancy that was already powerful and now got even more buff. But that means there will be a lot of people who want good bows with high DPS numbers, creating a lot of demand, and with that making them expensive. Lucky for us, we got another option. With using the Predator node on the Amazon Ascendancy, we can use high accuracy bows, which are useless for the Deadeyes, but good for us. A high accuracy roll on the bow is equally good to a similar well-rolled physical roll. This means that bows that are useless to the Deadeye players are very powerful to us. And next, we also have very easy access to crit. Despite the nerf to critical strikes, we will still be able to go for a crit setup directly, starting a campaign and then taking more crit nodes as we progress into the endgame. By scaling both crit and accuracy on the passive tree, we can achieve very consistent crits both while mapping and bossing. Additionally, the nerf is partially counteracted as we gain more accuracy from level and dexterity, and we receive less penalty to our accuracy as our arrows travel. And lastly, the half reason is access to Leech. Spiral Volley is a pure physical skill, there's no innate conversion on it, and combined with its absorbed damage, Leech is actually noticeable during mapping. Now this part you could also do in a Deadeye, but if we allocate Mystic Harvest in our Ascendancy, the Leech applies to elemental damage instead, allowing access to Leech during boss fights, which is the half reason part. So now that we understand why the Amazon Ascendancy is so good for this build, let's explain how Spiral Volley works. I actually played Spiral Volley in 0.1 and it felt amazing when I had frenzy charges and really awful when I did not. But lucky for us, there is a way to have near permanent frenzy charge uptime. By combining the Resonance Keystone with Break Endurance and Splinter, Spiral Volley, which is a pure physical skill, can break armor on enemies, and if it does, we have a chance to generate an endurance charge. The neat part is, even if the enemy dies to the Spiral Volley hit, they still count for break endurance and we still have a chance to gain that endurance charge. Now, Resonance will take these endurance charges and convert them into frenzy charges. which we then can consume with Spire Volley to do even more damage, repeating the loop. Now, during a high density map, we have near permanent frenzy charge uptime and clear a screen to 1.5 off screens at a time, thanks to the change to accuracy penalty. And to top it all off, we can link exploit weakness to elemental surge, which elemental bow builds or elemental builds generally do not have access to, granting it another 40% more damage. And as for the survivability of the build, admittedly the survivability in the footage is quite bad. I'm testing this build on borrowed gear that was farmed in SSF. That said, the build can have quite a good survivability package in 0.3. We can get a decent amount of life or hybrid life and energy shield on our build, add a lot of evasion on top utilizing high-risk Aya or acrobatics to evade even slams, and then if we do get hit, we have the newly added deflect mechanic to take 40% less damage. And of course the earlier mentioned leech, which we have access to. Now, next I'm gonna cover a potentially buff in 0.3. Warning though, this is based on leaked information. If you do not want to spoil yourself or make decisions based on unconfirmed information, feel free to skip to the next chapter. One of the leaked gems is 3 of our support gems for Spire Volley baked into one. Not only does Break Armor at tier 2 break 33% more armor than current Splinter, the tier 2 and tier 3 version of Break Armor also comes with Endurance Charge Generation built in. If this is true, we can save 2 links on Spire Volley, no longer needing Break Endurance and Demolisher, which to be fair would likely be removed anyway if this is actually in the game. And this means that 1, we can use Spire Volley the moment we can allocate Resonance and use a 4 link, so the moment we get close to maps or a little bit after we get into maps. And 2, we can gain even more coverage or damage on Spire Volley, depending on how the new support jump, especially the unique ones, work. Now, having talked enough about Spire Volley, how do we solve our single target on the build? While Spire Volley is amazing for clear, it has one major flaw: its single target damage. In 0.1 I paired it with Snipe for single target, but honestly, we can use whatever is the most broken single target setup available. Of our 9 gem spots, we use 3 for Spirit Gems and 1 for Spire Volley, leaving us with 5 flexible slots. Currently, I plan to use Lightning Arrow, Lightning Rod, Tornado Shot and Barrage for single target, as it's the most nuking both single target setup that I'm currently aware of. We fire Lightning Rods, we place the Tornado Shot, we activate Barrage, we fire the Lightning Arrow, all the Lightning Rods get procced, and either the boss is dead or we repeat the loop till the boss is dead. This will be enough to kill any map boss or pinnacle boss up to T4 difficulty. That said, if anything more broken shows up, like potentially the Ice Tip, Barrage, Lightning Rod into Freezing Salvo, we can easily just swap that in. Spire Volley requires outside of the Frenzy Charge node, which, to be fair, once we have enough damage are optional. No passive points on the tree we won't be using on other bow skills. As for the endgame potential, for the high-end budget, there's a handful of potential things we could do. We could go for a hybrid life and energy shield build while retaining the 100% chance to reflect and use the Essentia Sanguis gloves to convert our leech from life to energy shield, then utilize that for a huge amount of recovery on both single target and clear. We could add chase uniques like a Headhunter, an Always Resolve or Rite of Passage into the build. Maybe we could swap over to a Deadeye and gain as much skill speed and movement speed as possible. Admittedly, I am not fully sure what angle I want to go for yet. However, I will do this whenever I am going to go for a different update. Of course, if there's a big update, I will make a video about. But I also will post daily update PoBs on my website, definitiveguide.com, where you can see all my strats, builds, and also the layouts for PoE1 campaign, which to be fair right now do not matter, but all in one place. And all this being said, I'm very excited for the 0.3 patch. I have lots of plans and hopefully did convince at least some of you of how overpowered Spire Volley is. If anything was unclear or you got any questions, please do ask. On YouTube, Discord or Twitch, I will respond. And with that, have a wonderful day, and I'll be seeing you in my next video or live stream. goodbye.